In this video, we are going to cover the 7 key elements of whether you should buy a house for a flip or not.
And no matter what the area or what the neighborhood or what our ultimate plan is, this is always what we talk about for all of the houses that we preview.
So you're pulling up to the house, right? And all of a sudden, have you ever seen Sanford and Son before? There's all this junk laying everywhere, appliances, like
all kinds of things that you can think of.
You can't even see the grass because it's just covered in stuff. All right, that's
the extreme version. Yes.
You don't want to buy the house next door to that.
Correct.
To flip. All right.
Not to flip. Correct.
Like Annie and I bought one and everything was fine. The neighborhood was fine. And then the neighbor next door rented the house out and the contractor moved in, brought his 4 pickup trucks, all of his ladders, all of his siding materials,
trailers,
his trailers. Everything is just sitting in the yard. Guess what? We couldn't sell that house for what we wanted.
Correct.
So we actually ended up renting that house for 2 years until the neighbor moved out. And then once the yard was cleaned up, we put it back up for sale for more money and sold it later. So it wasn't a wash for us, but we don't want that to happen to you. When you're planning on doing a flip, learn from
our mistakes.
Although we didn't know about that beforehand. Now we could have called the city and complained and they would have made them clean it up.
But that would have been a big to-do, of course.
But knowing that right up front, if one of the neighbor houses are just trash, junk, don't buy that house unless you're going to buy the neighbor's house too.
Well, and that's a good point, though. Honestly, you don't really think about that when you're looking at houses to flip, but the neighborhood is a big deal, honestly.
Yeah.
Whether it's the neighborhood houses, whether it's sex offenders or crime, or we used to just find the house and didn't really care where it was. But now, after we've had 20 years of experience,
yes.
We are a little more selective based on the neighborhood, because we've had a house that wasn't able to be sold or rented, for that matter, because there was a sex offender that lived in the neighborhood. We've had a house that could not be sold as a flip and needed to be rented because of the neighbor's hoopla in the yard.
Yeah.
We've had issues with dogs next door. We've had issues with
yes, if the neighbor has like 4, pit bulls that run up to the fence and
act aggressive,
act like they're gonna attack you or bite you, then you may not want to buy that house unless you can put it in a budget where you put in a 6 or 8 foot privacy fence.
Which is a good point. Just because you have all of these factors that may make it not the best sale, that could be counteracted with a privacy fence or landscaping, depending on what you're dealing with, or you know what I mean? Just different things that you need to include in that budget that you wouldn't necessarily think of including in that budget because of the neighborhood that it's in. We've had issues with train tracks across the street, which there's nothing you can do about that either. But you all have to take into consideration when you're looking at the overall house itself, what the neighborhood looks like, what the neighborhood or what the neighbors' houses look like that are right next door or across the street or what have you. Yeah. And again, some of those things can be remedied with additional items in your budget. Some of those things you're just going to have to live with and know that going in.
Right.
And price it accordingly because of that. So
yeah. So make sure you're in a good flip neighborhood.
Yes.
We have pockets in our city where it is almost all rentals, like 95% rentals.
Yeah.
So you have to think, like, would you want to buy a house and live there?
Right.
If I were a new homeowner, would I want to live in a primarily rental neighborhood?
Right.
And so we've had a lot of success flipping houses in transitioning neighborhoods where maybe 70 or 80% of them are rentals and the rest are homeowners, and it's starting to transition into
more
homeowners for that. So that's number 2, know what neighborhood that you are trying to flip in.
Yes, definitely. The third one is how long is it going to take to rehab? because you might buy it say in November and not have it ready until May, and the neighborhood could flip over 2 or 3 times in that time frame, which isn't typical, but it could. So you got to kind of do your due diligence and look at the overall
Scope of work.
yes, the scope of work and the overall condition of the neighborhood, and what the trends are in that area and what the trends are as far as home sales are concerned.
And your contractor may say this is a 1-year flip, right? And so if you have to run new gas lines from the street, we've had to rehab houses with just kerosene heaters and generators because we could not get gas to the property for 6 to 8 weeks. It had been vacant for so many years that the gas company cut the gas line at the street and capped it.
And you can't get electric. Yeah, I was going to say, you can't get electric until the gas is ready, and vice versa. So
so factor in, like, if a typical flip is maybe 2 to 4 months, and then you figure worst case 5, and then a month on the market currently in this market. And so you're looking at a 6-month rehab. Well, if you do a bigger rehab project right now, it's hard to find some materials, so you may have delays for certain products. And so
and contractors too, if you're not going to do it by yourself.
And contractors, finding contractors to do the whole scope. If it needs new electric, new plumbing, new roof, new siding, new windows, like, how are you going to get all of that done in a timely fashion? So you may have to hold that house for twice as long, and you need to factor that in to your profit margin. Like, is this deal still going to be profitable?
Because your holding costs will be twice as long as what you were anticipating originally.
Right. And you should factor in 15% into your budget for unknowns if you have a project that big. Because as soon as they start ripping into stuff, you're going to find out, oh, this wall where we're going to cut out and add a slider door, Myrtle Avenue.
Yep.
The whole rest of the wall was eaten by termites.
Yes.
Right. If we never opened that, we would have never seen it, never known it. It would have sold to the next person. But we opened it up, saw the damage, and we have to fix that. So we ended up rebuilding an entire exterior wall. And so that's why you want to have that 15% cushion in there. Right.
So then the next thing is the contractor schedule. If you do have to have plumbing, electrical, all of that, you have to schedule it accordingly. This person has to come in to do this, so that this person can come in and do that, so that that person can come in and do that. And how far are those people scheduled out? Are they scheduled out 3 or 4 weeks, and then the next person is scheduled out 4 or 6? Or can so-and-so get in quicker than so-and-so? So you got to coordinate everyone's schedule too. If you are GCing the project yourself. If not, then that GC that you hire has to coordinate all of that. So it just kind of depends on who you're using and what you're doing and what the scope of the work.
So that's why you want multiple bids as well, and ask, what's your timeline? We're looking for a plumber for a specific commercial project right now, and the shortest time frame that we have found thus far is 6 weeks. So we're still calling.
Yes.
We're not.
And you may have to go out of the normal area that you're used to working in too, because the surrounding county people may be a little bit slower than the actual county that the house is in. So then they can come in and do some work that somebody closer to the property won't necessarily have time to do.
Exactly.
So the biggest thing is the GC. Are you going to do it yourself? Are you going to hire that out? Are you going to do the rehab yourself? Or are you going to hire that out? And it all depends on, again, what the end game is for the house and what your area consists of as far as permits, and if you need them, if you don't need them, if you have to be licensed in order to do stuff. Because Jay is a licensed contractor in the state of Ohio, but he is not in Florida, and you can't do anything without a license in Florida.
Oh, you can do some stuff.
Yeah, but very little.
You can't do plumbing, electric, the trade skills, where in our little city where we live in Newark, they don't really care. Unless you're putting in a new panel box. Anybody can put in an outlet or something basic like that. So consider that when you're looking at a project. Like, are you GCing it, or are you hiring someone
Right.
to do that for you? And then you're going to have additional costs paying them to be your construction manager.
And then another thing we look at is there any value to add to the house? Are there walls that you can take out to open up space? Is there space that you can make into a half bath under the stairs? Is there a space that you
Yes.
can make into a half bath that used to be a pantry, or that used to be a closet? Or can you expand and close off some walls to make it a master suite compared to an open bath
Yeah.
thing? So
An example is we do a lot of older homes here where they have a formal living room, a formal dining room, formal family room, and a kitchen. Well, in today's family, you don't use all of those spaces. So we will quite often steal one of the larger rooms, the family or living room, or maybe even the dining room if the kitchen's big enough.
Yeah.
And we try to make a first floor bedroom and hopefully a master suite. And then if a place has one bath and it's upstairs, is there somewhere that we can squeeze in a half bath on the first floor?
Or even a full bath.
Yeah.
Again, if the dining room, the formal dining room is a space that you can delete from the overall floor plan because the kitchen is big enough to have an eat-in kitchen with a dining room area, then you can take that formal dining room and make it an ensuite master suite on the first level, because that opens up your buyer pool more. Because then some people can live solely on the main level and don't have to go anywhere else.
Yes. Or maybe you can do an addition.
Is there a patio that you can enclose to turn into a suite?
Yeah, we did an addition on the back of a garage that had a huge garage with a workshop in the back. So we eliminated the workshop, cut into the concrete, ran all new plumbing, and did a master bed and bath on the back side, and then ran mini splits for heating and cooling, so we could keep the existing HVAC system in place and have a separate system just for the master bed, master bath, and then a little foyer breezeway that we added as well.
Yep. And then the last thing that we always take into consideration are the home sales in the area, which we briefly touched on. But
Yeah.
What are the neighborhood houses selling for within a mile, within 2 miles, which isn't typical for comps, but
especially within a half mile.
Yes, and you always should consider the same type of house. Don't compare ranches to your 2-story, or don't compare 2 stories to your ranch, so that you can have the clearest and most accurate idea of what your house will sell for.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure there's at least 3 sales within a half mile.
And what are they using as their finishes in those sales?
In the last 3 to 6 months. If there's only one sale, that's not a popular neighborhood.
Right.
You don't want to flip a house in a neighborhood where there's one sale. So you want at least 3. And if you have more than that, that's even better. That means it's a very active neighborhood. And we're also looking at how many days are they on the market?
Right.
What were the condition of those sales? Were they rehabbed like ours? Or is this just a homeowner that sold their personal home, and it might not have all of the newest, most modern updates, but that'll give you an idea going through those sold comparables to see, like, look at the pictures and see what was the condition of these homes.
Yep.
And how much was it listed for, and how much did it sell for? Did it go over? I just looked today for an updated market for one that we're going to sell, and I saw that 3 homes have sold for $25,000 more than what I thought it was worth.
Nice.
And they've sold within a week.
Right. That's the other thing. How long has it sat on the market?
And I only went back 60 days, so that those are home sales that have sold since the rates have gone up here recently. And so those are the 7 key elements.
Yep.
That you need to consider. And so your action steps with that is to locate a property that you're interested in flipping.
Check out the neighborhood.
Check out the neighborhood. look at the houses,
Right.
right? Or
Check
at
the
least the
definitions.
pictures. If
You
you
can
can't get
check
in, even if they're under contract or sold, you won't be able to get in the sold ones.
But you can always look at the pictures that are there
Yes.
on realtor.com or the MLS if you have access or whatever the case may be.
Yep, or Zillow. You can look on Zillow at sold, and that'll give you an idea. You'll also see off-market solds on Zillow. So that's another good option that Annie had mentioned there. So yeah, check those out and see if you got a deal. Make an offer.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
This is Annie.
We are so grateful for you joining us on our podcast and listening in and participating. We want to offer you this additional free bonus, and that is joining our Facebook group.
Yes, where we will have other individuals, not just us, but having conversations on all things real estate, and we would love to have you join us. So just click the link below and head on over and join our group.
Thanks guys, we'll see you on the other side.